Hello, today is Thursday. It is September the 27th. And the reading for today comes from the first chapter of the letter of 1st John. That first chapter has got two incredibly huge concepts in it. And I decided to focus on the second part of the chapter, very short chapter. And even though it's only 10 verses long, I've picked three of the verses for my reflection. Starting in verse 8, if we say that we have not sinned, we are fooling ourselves, and the truth isn't in our hearts. But if we confess our sins to God, He can always be trusted to forgive us and take our sins away. If we say that we have not sinned, we make God a liar, and His message isn't in our hearts. This passage is so clear about one of the aspects of a relationship with God, and that is authenticity, transparency, and honesty with God, between me and God, between you and God. Yet that is one of the very difficult things for us to do, not because God needs to hear us explain what's going on in our lives, because of course He knows it all. The difficulty is that we are not honest with ourselves. And when we are not honest with ourselves, we cannot be in good relationship with God. That's why confession is so important, because confession is owning up to who I am and what I am with authenticity, with transparency, and thereby being able to have an authentic relationship with God. Now, the verse says very clearly that if we say we have not sinned, we are fooling ourselves. And I'll tell you, we've got lots of ways to fool ourselves. I have lots of ways to fool myself. We are not honest about things. We make excuses about things. We forget about how we've either injured someone or made a bad choice. We just allow it to go away. And the passage is really clear that if we do that, then His truth is not in us and His message is not in us. Because you see, His message is, if we own up to our sins, if we confess them, if we recognize them and are honest and authentic, then we are forgiven. And if we don't, then we're not. Now, it's not like God says, oh, if you're not honest enough, I'm not going to forgive you. It's much more like God said, Bruce, it's your call. Do you want forgiveness or not? If you tell me you need it, you get it. If you tell me you don't need it, you don't need it. And you don't get it. You see, it's just so open for us to be able to choose what kind of relationship we want with God. Do we want a relationship with God that is of grace and mercy and forgiveness? Then we tell Him we need it, and we are as clear as possible about what we need. And we keep learning about ourselves more and more about the kind of grace and mercy we need. But if we say we don't need it, then God says, okay, you don't need it. I'll keep it. It is totally your choice and my choice whether we get grace or not. I need it. And so I will work at being honest and transparent with God as much as possible, and hope you will do the same. Have a great Friday.